Okay, so we are looking at Exam 3's review. So first thing we're going to do is write the percent as a decimal. So we've got 72%. So we're going to change 72% to a decimal. And to do that, we're changing, remember the decimal's behind that last number if you don't see one. We have to change it by moving the decimal place over 2 places to the left. So it will be 0.72. I don't care if you put the 0 in front or not. I care that you get the 0.72 on there. On part 2, on the second question, on part A, we are writing each decimal and fraction as a percent. So the first one is 0.43. So we have 0.43. We have to change it to a percent. So we're going to change it 2 places. That'll get us 43%. For part B, we have 5 divided by 16. We actually have to find the decimal for that. So take 5 divided by 16 in your calculator, and you get 0.3125. Now we need to change that to a percent. So we'll move it over 2 places and get 31.25%. All right, so on the next set of problems, we're finding the following, and we're using the same formula for all of the problems on this. This is percent times base equals the amount. So what we can do is put in all of our parts and we'll figure out what we need to do. So on the first problem, part A, we have 8.4 is what percent of 48? So what percent? Percent is what we're looking for. The base is the of part, so that's times 48, equals the amount. 80.4 is, that the is part is going to be your amount. So now we're going to do a little math to figure this out. So when we're looking at this, we need to find the percent. It's being multiplied, so we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 48. So our percent will be equal to 8.4 divided by 48. So you can look at it that it's going to be the amount divided by the base. So the percent is going to be equal to 0.175, and then we got to change it to a percent. So as we move it over, it'll be 17.5%, and that will be your answer. So on part B, we're looking at the same thing. We have our percent times our base equals the amount. So with our percent, we are told that what is 23% of 140? So 23%, the base is our 140, and that's going to be equal to our amount. Now we cannot just do the percent sign, we actually have to change it. So we've got to change this to a decimal, so 0.23 times our 140, the x or the parentheses, same thing as multiplication, is going to be equal to the amount we're looking for. So when I multiply that, we're going to get 32.2 is equal to the amount. All right, we have one more of these. So we're looking at, again, percent times our base is equal to the amount. So percent times base, so we've got 29.76 is 23.25% of what number? Of what number? That is going to be your base. The is that amount, and that's our percent. So we're going to have 23.25% times the base is equal to 29.76. So again, change this to a decimal. So 0.2325 times your base equals your 29.76. So we're going to divide both sides by the 0.2325 and get that the base is equal to, is equal to that 29.76 divided by the 0.2325. When we figure that out, put it in a calculator, you will get that the base is equal to 128. So we have the same formula, and we're just going to plug in what are we trying to find, and just keep working it till you find it. All right, for number 4, in a recent year, DiGiorno sold 478.3 million worth of frozen pizzas. If the total frozen pizza sales were this much, what percent of the frozen pizza sales were due to DiGiorno? Now, I've told you it's the part over the whole, but you can use that same percent times base equals amount. So let's use that same formula because that's something we're familiar with. So if we look at percent times base equals amount, what do we know? We're trying to find the percentage. So this is what we know we're trying to find. The base is going to be from the total frozen pizzas. So that's going to be the 2844.8, and the amount that DiGiorno did was 478.3. We are good to just plug those in because they are both millions, so they're in the same increment. So to find that percent, we're going to divide by 2844.8 on both sides. So our percent will be 478.3 divided by 2844.8, which will get us a decimal of 0.1681. Got to change it to a percent by moving it 2 places. We'll get 16.81%. So same formula, just a different type of problem. All right, the next problem we're looking at is finding the percent of increase or markup on each item. In 1985, the price of a dozen eggs was $1.11. Now the cost is $1.38. What is the percent of increase? So here's our formula. We're going to have the new amount minus the base amount over the base amount. So new amount minus the base amount divided by the base amount. Now, all you got to do is plug in those values. So the new amount is $1.38 minus the base amount of $1.11 divided by $1.11. When you subtract the top, you get 0.27 over 1.11, which will get you 0.2432. Moving the decimal place, we end up with a 24.32%. So that's the markup. It's a 24% markup. All right, let's look at Paul. He's a car dealer who bought a car for $12,300 and then he sold it for $13,809. What percent was his markup on the car? So same formula, so I'm not going to rewrite the formula. New amount minus the base amount. So the new amount is what he sold the car for. So $13,809 minus the base is what he bought it for over what he bought it for. When you subtract the top, you'll get $1,509 divided by 12,300, which will get you 0.1227. Changing that to a percent, it's 12.27%. All right, now we're on to simple interest. So find the simple interest with the given given amounts. So P is equal to 3,000, R is equal to 7%, T is equal to 5. Your formula is interest equals PRT. So this is number 6. So I is equal to PRT. We're just going to plug in the values that were given to us. So the interest is the P. The P we were told is 3,000 times our 7%. Now we have to change 7%. We can't leave it like that. Moving it to the decimal place, we get 0.07 times our T, which is 5 years. and the T always has to be in years. When you multiply that, you will get 10,050. All right, number 7, we are looking to find the future value with the given amounts. So our future value is going to be A is equal to P times 1 plus R times T. So using that formula and given the amounts we are given, we are told that our P is 3,500 times 1 plus 6% has to become 0.06 times T, which is 4 years. And you can just put that in a calculator as it is. Make sure you use you can use a multiplication symbol here instead, but make sure you put in the parentheses, and you should get 4,340. So that would be the future value in 4 years. That's how much will be in the account. All right, the next question, number 8. Find the future value with the given amounts. This time, we are looking at future value, but we've got a quarterly in here. That tells us we're going to use the compound interest formula. It's still the future value because you're finding what it's going to be in 3 years. It's the accumulated value is another way to look at it. So this time our letters aren't labeled. We're looking at the formula A is equal to P times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT. We're told $5,000. That means that's the principal of how much we put in the account. We are given 9%, which is going to be our rate, which we have to change to 0.09 using our skills that we have learned. Quarterly tells us how many times it's being compounded in a year, and that means quarterly is like 4 quarters in a dollar, 4 quarters in a football game, so it's 4. And our T in years is 3. So now we just plug this all into our calculator. So A is equal to 5,000 times 1 plus 0.09 over 4 raised to the 4 times 3. You have to be skilled in your calculator. For me, most of your points will be coming from setting it up. So you get 6,530.25. That should be the amount in your account. All right, the next question we have is to find the monthly payments for each add-on loan. So to find that, we are looking at the principal plus the interest divided by the number of payments. So your monthly payment, switch this up. So our monthly payment is equal to our P plus I over N. So that tells us that if we've got to find the I first. We know the principal. The principal was given to us of $800, so that's how much the P is. We have the rate, because we need that to find the interest, and we have the T, which is years. Now, there's a couple of things we need to know here. First of all, we need to find the I. So let's look at all of our letters. So we have the P, the I, and the N. So the P is going to be the principal, and that was given to us at $800. That's how much the loan was made for. We've got to find the interest. To find the interest, we need to do P times R times T. And the number of payments, we have to figure out what that is. Well, N is going to be equal to the T times 12, because there are 12 months in each year. So we need to, for this one, we're doing it for 3 years, so it's going to be 3 times 12, which will be 36 payments, because that's what we're looking at, is for 36 months. That's how many months you're going to pay for this. So let's go find the I. So I is equal to $800 times, the rate we are given is 9%, so 0.09 times our T, which is 3. When we multiply that out, we'll find, hang on a second, I think I have. The interest rate is wrong. It wasn't 9%. Looked at the wrong problem, sorry. It is 11%. So 0.11, sorry about that, times 3. When we get into that, into our calculator, we should get 264. So now to find our payment, it's going to be the principal of 800 plus our interest of 264 divided by our number of payments, which is 36. So we get 10,064 divided by 30, or not 10,000, 1,064 divided by 36, and that will get us a payment of $29.56. So that's our monthly payment. This is the final answer you're looking for. You have to find a few other things in order to do that. All right, so on the next problem, I'm not going to work this one, but it's the same process. You're trying to figure out when Susie bought her add-on interest loan, this is going to be her principal of $1,340. The loan's going to be paid back in 2 years, so that means 2 times 12 will get us 24 payments. And an annual interest rate of 8.6, you're going to use the 0.086. The interest will she pay? Well, that's going to be the I equals PRT. What are her monthly payments? You're going to do it just like this one. So this is how much interest is paid. This is the monthly payment. It works the same way. So looks a little different, but it's the same type of problem. We're doing it exactly the same way. It's written out in a word problem instead of doing just here's the numbers. All right, let's go look at another type of problem. We need to find this month's minimum payment due with given amounts. So we are given that I equals PRT and T is equal to 1 over 12. We are looking at just 1 month. Remember, I've told you your T has to be in years. Well, there's 12 months in a year, and we're talking about for that year. So we're doing 1/12 of the year because we're looking at 1 month out of the year. So that's why we're doing T is equal to 1 over 12. All right, so we're given our principal, we're given the percentage, and we're given what T is equal to. We need to find the finance charge, which is going to be the interest, and 3% of the principal, trying to find that payment. So let's look at number 10. So we are using I is equal to PRT. So our I is going to be equal to 8840 times our rate of 6%, which we have to write as a decimal, times our 1 over 12, which is what our T is equal to. When we multiply that in the calculator, you'll get 44.20. So that's the interest that we're being charged for 1 month. Because it's not a yearly thing, it's in 1 month. That's what you're going to get. We also need to find the 3% of the principal. We were told that our principal is 8840 times 3% would be 0.03, will get us 265.20. So 3% of 8840, just double checking, yep, 265.20. Now, to find that minimum payment, because that's what we're looking for, find the minimum payment. So the minimum payment is going to be equal to your interest, which is your finance charge, plus that 3%. So the interest was $44.20 plus our $265.20, which was our finance, or our 3% of our balance, and that's going to get you $309.40. So that is your final answer. Oops, my dollar sign's a little off there. $309.40. So on the next one, it would work the same way, except you have an additional $20 added. So you'll find the finance charge plus $20 plus your 2% of the principal. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. A little bit different scenarios. All right, so the next one is find next month's finance charge. So we need to find the finance charge for the next month. So we have last month's balance. We have the payment, the interest rate. We bought a dog. We bought some pet supplies, paid the vet bill, and returned a kennel. So we're looking at like if we had used like a credit card or something, and what is the next month's finance charge with all the things that we are given. So you have a little bit of a formula there, but let's look at the bigger picture of this. So this is number 11. So we have the minimum, or the new balance is equal to your balance plus the interest plus any purchases that you made minus any returns and minus the payment you made to your card. So new balance equals the old balance plus the interest plus purchases minus any returns and minus your payment. So let's see what we have, because we're looking for next month's finance charge. But first we got to find out what our the balance is going to be so we can figure that out. The old balance was $640 plus the interest. We have to go find that. Oh, we got to go find the interest first. We can't do it without that. So let's go find our interest. So our interest, remember, is going to be our principal, which is $640, times the interest rate we were given, and the interest rate we were told was 16.5%. So that'll be 0.165 times your T, remember, is 1 over 12, because this is P times R times T. And when you multiply that out, you'll get $8.80. So we'll have 8.8 plus, we bought that dog for $140, plus we bought some pet supplies for $35. We paid we had to pay the vet bill for $75. Now we returned the kennel. We decided it was the wrong size. We didn't need it. And we made the payment. And we made a payment of $320. So when we add all that together, combining, adding, and subtracting, you should get a balance now of $533.80. So now if we want to find next month's finance charge, so this will be next month, finance charge. This was this month's finance charge. We're going to do it the same way. So I is equal to PRT. So I is equal to this balance of 533.80 times the interest rate is still 0.165 and the T is still 1 over 12 because we're looking for 1 month. And that will be $7.34. So this is what the interest or the finance charge will be next month. So a little bit involved problem. You have to find this month's finance charge to go in there, but it'd be all right. All right, so the next problem is probably one of the bigger problems because it's got a bigger formula in it, but it'll be all right. Remember in my class, you are going to get a lot just for setting it up. If you can put in all the parts where they go, sometimes those calculators can be a little bit tricky. So for number 12, we're going to find the value of the ordinary annuity. We've got a big old formula here, and then we're given some amounts. So I'm just going to do the first one. And so this one is A is equal to R, big parentheses, 1 plus R over N to the NT minus 1. You might recognize this part in the compound interest formula, divided by R over N. So A is equal to R times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT minus 1 all over R over N. I've got to extend that down. So big formula. So the R is actually the payment. It is the amount. So that's the amount they're going to give you. And our amount is 400. It is monthly, so that tells us that our N will be equal to 4. 9%, that'll be 0.09. And, R is equal to 12, not 4. If we're doing monthly, N is equal to 12. So sorry. All right, so we have the big R is equal to 400. Monthly is our little n for 12. 0.09 and 4 is equal to our T. Okay, so A is equal to 400 times 1 plus our R is 0.09 divided by monthly is 12. That is all raised to the 12 times T, and T was for 4 years, minus 1, all over our 0.09 over 12. Make sure you get that all over part. Sometimes it's easier if you do all of this, then divide by all of this by putting in some extra parentheses. So you might do all of the top divided by the bottom and then multiply by the 400. Sometimes that's easier to do. You should get 23,008.28. That would be your total value of the ordinary annuity if you're paying in $400 for 4 years at a 9%. All right, let's look at the next problem. And the next problem tells us that we are finding the next line of the amortization schedule. So we're looking at the annual interest rate, the payment, the interest paid, the paid on principal, and the balance. All right, so for this one, we're also going to need to find our interest. We're given that formula, I is equal to PRT. So this is number 13. I is equal to P times R times T. So our I is going to be equal to our balance that we is going to be that number right there, the 4362.49. So 4362.49 times our rate of 8.4% will get us 0.084, and our T is still 1 over 12 because we're looking at one monthly payment. So the interest, when you multiply that out in the calculator, you'll get 30.54. So we need to figure out how much was paid on the principal. So if we look at paid on principal, we're going to take what the payment was. So we're going to be the payment minus the interest. So that'll tell us how much we actually paid on our principal of our account. So our payment is $246.01 minus that interest of 30.54, and that'll get us a total of $215.47. So to find our new balance, because there's several things you need to find, the new balance will be the old balance minus how much was paid on the principal. So that will be the old balance minus the paid on principal. So that will be the old balance, which was 4362.49, minus the paid on principal, which is $215.47, which will get us $4147.02. So now we're looking to make that next line of the amortization schedule. The annual interest rate will stay the same. The payment will stay the same. But these three will change. So if we're looking at the first part, it'll be 8.4% still. Our payment is still $246.01. That's still the same. The interest paid, that's the amount we found of 30.54. And then the paid on principal, we found to be $215.47. We're paying less interest, so more went on our principal, And our balance, right there, the balance now is 4147.02. So the first two parts don't change, but the last three, we have to go find those. It looks like it's more complicated than we find when we actually do it. The last two are going to be some simple problems. So number 14, we are going to find the finance charge per $100 for each loan. There is a formula for this one as well. It's going to be the finance charge divided by the borrowed amount times 100. So we've got the finance charge divided by the borrowed amount times 100. So our finance charge is $260 divided by the amount borrowed, which is $2,000 times 100, and you'll get $13, and that's it. That's your final answer. All right, number 15. Number 15 is the estimated APR. That's the annual percentage rate, and it is equal to 2NR over N plus 1. We are told that N is 30 and R is 8%. So remember, you always got to change that percentage to a decimal. So this will be 2 times our N is 30 times 0.08 all over our 30 plus 1. So this will get you 4.8 divided by 31, and that'll get you 0.1548. And changing that to a percent will get you 15.48% by moving the decimal place. So that's what you need to know for exam 3 in our contemporary math class.